Yeah, someone posted a link from PragerU. For anyone who doesn't know, PragerU is this website would tell you is an extreme right wing, very low factual reporting, like literally right wing extremist propaganda. Yeah, they are extreme right wing. They give you very misleading information. In fact, they're trying to get it taught in schools in America. They straight up push misinformation. Do you know what? Shall we watch this? It's a 5 minute video. Shall we numb our brains a little bit and see what they're
And
peddling?
now for a brief history of slavery. Here's the first thing you need to know. Slavery was not invented by white people. It did not start in 1619 when the first slaves came to Jamestown. It existed before then.
This is going to be
It did
interesting.
not start in 1492 when Columbus discovered the New World. In fact, when the intrepid explorer landed in the Bahamas, the native Taino tribe hoped that he would help them defeat their aggressive neighbors, the Caribs. The Caribs
I love how they're shifting the blame.
and on occasion served them for dinner. Slavery existed in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. The word slave actually comes from the Slavs of Eastern Europe.
That doesn't make it okay though, does it?
All white, by the way, were captured and enslaved by Muslims in the 9th century and later by the Ottoman Turks. Slavery existed when the Roman Empire controlled the Mediterranean and most of Europe from the 1st through the 5th centuries. Slavery existed when Alexander the Great conquered Persia in the 4th century BC. It was so common that Aristotle simply considered it natural. The slave master model was just how the world operated in the
Anyone feeling radicalized yet? Let me know. We're like a minute in.
The time of the ancient Egyptians 5,000 years ago. As far back as we can go in human history, we find slavery. As renowned historian John
Drop a number in chat on a scale of 1 to 10 how radicalized you are right now towards being, you know,
as much as a third of the population of
a slavery apologist by saying everyone else did it first.
Here's the second thing you need to know. White people were the first to formally put an end to slavery.
Oh my god, hang on. They're taking credit for stopping the thing they were doing?
Britain was the first country in the history of the world to
Okay, but who started slavery in Britain before then?
pass a slavery
Who started
abolition
it?
act. They were quickly followed by France, who in 1848 abolished slavery in her many colonies. Then, of course, came the 13th Amendment.
She really is.
After centuries of human slavery, white men led.
Okay, do you know what? Taking it back now, are they going to bring up Abraham Lincoln in this? For ending slavery? Do you reckon they'll try and take credit for that?
And putting an end to the abhorrent practice. That includes the 300,000 Union soldiers overwhelmed.
This is entirely a propaganda video saying, hey, stop blaming white people for racism when we helped end it.
Saying that this makes white people better than anyone else? Of course not.
They're not saying it, but they're implying it.
To simply tell the truth. And the truth is that human history is complicated.
100% she is.
No one, regardless of skin color, stands guiltless. Yet today we are never told to consider the murderous Persian Empire or the cannibalism of indigenous tribes of North and South America or the heinous actions under the...
So this whole video is like, hey, everyone else did it, but they did it worse than us, so we're not that bad.
Instead, we're told that slavery is a white phenomenon. And like all persistent lies, this lie spawns a bunch of other lies. On social
they're
media,
calling it a lie.
Extraordinary depictions about how Africans lived like pharaohs before Europeans came and laid waste to their paradise. I wish any of this were true, but it's not. It's a fantasy. The truth is that Africans were sold into slavery by other Black Africans, and in many cases, sold for items as trivial as gin and mirrors. Whites didn't go into the interior.
But then the white people still use them as slaves. So that doesn't like say, oh, you know, the people who sold them are the real villains, you know?
The stark reality.
The people who bought them, they're just customers, right? They're guiltless.
Our ancestors. Here's the third thing you need to know.
Is there comments on this?
If you think slavery is a relic of the past, you're wrong. There are some 700,000.
Oh my god, I just saw the video in the recommended here on the side. You can't see because my chair's in the way. This one up here, about why immigrants should love Columbus Day.
Africa today, right now.
Should I get a bag of popcorn and start binging these videos?
Other sources say there are many more. For context, that's almost twice as many slaves as were ever brought to the United States. Child soldiers, human trafficking, forced labor, these are the conditions that currently exist within the same sub-Saharan region where the transatlantic slave trade originated. African bodies are being sold today like they were sold then.
Okay, so this is just giving you information saying other countries are doing it. Go focus on them and not us. Don't focus on what the Americans are doing, right? Or, what they have done in the past. Stop bringing up what they've done.
Today within non-white countries. But we hear almost nothing about that.
I love the way they focus on non-white.
Slavery was universal until good people in Europe and America ended it 2 centuries ago. Why? Because our so-called leaders, black...
Should I give a round of applause to all the white Europeans?
Victimhood is nothing if not profitable.
Okay, so apparently they're trying to push the agenda that black people are bringing up slavery for profit. This is a serious video, Jess, and they want to teach this in American schools, which is dire. I mean, they've been rejected, so they're not being taught in schools, but they're trying very hard to get it taught in schools.
As partners in the American dream, if we embraced the
I can't believe black people are, using slavery for profit like this.
The patriotic spirit that is...
Well, the white man who put an end to slavery is the one that's really suffering.
And the race hustlers would soon be out of business. And who wants that? I'm Candace Owens.
Right, shut the fuck up, Candace. I want to find out about Christopher Columbus now.
As Columbus Day dies a slow woke death.
Hell yeah! Columbus Day is dying a slow woke death. We all did that, alright? Everyone pat yourself on the back. We're the reason Columbus Day is dying. Wokeness is winning. Right, Chrome, what are you doing, dude? I am currently watching some PragerU and educating myself on far-right extremism. I should be playing Metal Gear, which I'll do in a bit, but I'm having way too much fun with this. I hope everyone here is celebrating the fact that their wokeness is killing Columbus Day. And I want to hear her say that again. I'm rewinding that.
As Columbus Day dies a slow woke death, it might be a good idea to consider how this national holiday came about in the first place.
That's not very, accessible of them.
Ready for it? The purpose of Columbus Day was to encourage Americans to be more accepting of immigrants, specifically Italian immigrants. The Italian explorer...
Okay, so only for the immigrants that look white. Okay,
once
make sure everyone notes that one down, not the Mexican ones.
The symbol of the holiday, not the focus of it. Here's the historical context. Following a mass migration from southern Italy beginning in the 1880s, the status of Italian Americans was at an all-time low. How low was clearly illustrated by one of the single worst episodes of racial violence in American history. The mass
I can't wait to hear about this. Is it several...
11 Italian Americans in New Orleans in 1891.
Hang on, I'm pretty sure America has had more mass murders with, higher death counts than that since, right?
Hatred
I'm fairly certain
newcomers had been brewing.
That's not the largest mass murder they've had.
By leading newspapers of the day. For example, in 1882, the New York Times ran an editorial under the headline, "Our Future Citizens," in which the Times stated, "There has never been, since New York was founded, so low and ignorant a class among the immigrants as the Southern Italians."
I don't know what kids shows they have.
The same New York Times wrote approvingly of the lynching in Mississippi of a man they referred to as Dago Joe. Dago being an ethnic slur for Italians. Anti-immigrant.
That sounds like a challenge,
New Orleans, where Italians
I'm looking at the stuff they've got recommended on the side here as well.
Local papers
who has privilege?
Working for below market wages.
Who in chat thinks they have privilege, I wonder? Let me know. Do you have privilege yet? Should I do a poll for that? Poll.
These seething resentments broke to the surface when the city's police chief, David Hennessy, was assassinated in the fall of 1890. As the chief lay dying in the street, a witness claimed to have heard him say that Dagos had shot him.
Or no,
in response, authorities rounded up...
Let me know if you think you have privilege.
Eventually charging 9 of them with complicity in Hennessy's murder. When their trial resulted in 6 not guilty verdicts and 3 mistrials, the public...
I mean, white privilege is a thing, but it only exists for men, to be honest. White women don't have it.
Decided to take justice into their own hands.
Unless they marry a man and then they get his privilege.
Here's what happened.
Only if he allows it to have it.
Angry residents gathered near the jail. Impassioned speakers whipped the mob into a frenzy, painting Italian immigrants as criminals who needed to be driven out of the city. A group of vigilantes stormed the prison, grabbing not just the men who had been acquitted or given a mistrial, but several who had not been tried or even accused in the crimes. Shots rang out. When the
Oh, hang on, that's like a good one right here. What radical Islam and the woke have in common?
outside
Right,
the
I'm
jail,
bored of
mob
Columbus. Let me
cheered.
find out about this.
There were many American heroes on 9/11, but the greatest were the passengers and crew of Flight 93. Not only
Oh
did
yeah,
they
Ego Punk,
provide
that's it. But only,
the
when they're
flag
appealing
and
to men,
direct hit in the White House, but they also
You can play
embodied
victim,
Tata
and
Henry's
then their
freedom.
white savior
Give
man
me
swoops
liberty or
in
give me
and
death.
protects them with his
Do those
massive
words still have a
privilege,
meaning
right?
in America today? For 2 decades, I've spoken out against those strands of Islam that gave rise to Al Qaeda. In this fight for freedom, I have faced many death threats. Yet, I have always consoled myself that in the US, freedom of conscience and expression were paramount values. It was partly for this reason that I moved here and became a citizen in 2013. It never occurred to me that free speech would come under threat in my newly adopted country. In 2014, I was invited to receive an honorary degree at Brandeis
I
University.
don't care about your
And then the
education.
motivations of the plotters and hijackers.
Tell me about
All
how
homes
radical
in
Islam
any
is woke.
case came from middle class and upper class homes. Their goal was religious and political, to denounce Arab governments as corrupt and their Western allies as infidels, and ultimately to overthrow the existing order in the Middle East and establish a caliphate.
Yeah, but what has that got to do with the LGBT community, and how are they closely related to radical Islam?
As they implied actions to solve the problem. To do with material considerations.
Terrorists might have unshakable convictions, have nothing to do. Okay.
2 decades later,
Still dancing around the topic. I'm skipping forward to this because they waffle on quite a bit. Hang on, here we go.
Another version of
It
Marxism.
took 3 minutes to get into the video to actually get to the point.
Religion and the idea of an afterlife.
Okay, wokeism. Another version of Marxism. Do I want to speed the video? Do you know what? Maybe I should. A militant strain of an ancient faith, blah, blah, blah. Its believers have a coherent sense of what Allah wants them to achieve on earth. Okay, what about that?
Divides society into myriad identities, whereas Islamist division is simpler, believers and unbelievers.
Okay, this is how they boil it down, wokeism and Islam. Okay.
There are many other differences, but consider the resemblances. The adherents of each pursue ideological purity, certain of their own rectitude. Neither Islamists nor the woke will engage in debate. Both prefer.
Neither will engage in debate. Both prefer.
Submissive and damnation.
To be fair, I ridicule. I don't debate. So do you know what? They've got my number there.
Islamists shout Allahu Akbar and death to America. The woke shout Black Lives Matter and I can't.
I can't believe they're equating these two things. Oh my god. Black Lives Matter is the same as saying death to America. Fuck yeah. I'm not even disagreeing with this. Hell yeah, that's exactly what I mean when I say Black Lives Matter.
Breathe.
And I
Islamists
don't
raise the
breathe.
neck. The woke take the knee. Both like burning the American flag. Both take offense at every opportunity and demand not just apologies but concessions. Islamism invades against blasphemy. Wokeism wants to out your hate.
This is the biggest fucking stretch. Like, I think, right, if the mental gymnastics was an actual physical sport, these right-wing lunatics would be fucking ripped like a character from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Speech. Islamists use the word Islamophobia to silence critics. The woke do the same with racism. Both
This is just getting funnier.
ideologies aim to tear down the existing system and replace it with utopias that always turn out to be hell.
I mean, no, that is true. I also want to tear down the existing system and replace it with a utopia. So, do you know what? They're not even wrong about this. I'm not even disagreeing with a lot of this. I do want to tear down the current system, and I do want to replace it with a utopia for people, who are underprivileged or, oppressed. I want that. I really want that. Abolish the police, I want that. They've got my number right there. Black Lives Matter, yeah, I want equal rights for everyone.
Anarchists. Islamic State in Raqqa, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone in Seattle. Both are collectivist. Group identity trumps the individual. Both tolerate and often glorify violence.
I mean, yeah, I fully agree. Punching Nazis is a thing we should do.
Carried out by zealots. The grievances of Islamists and the woke aren't merely economic, and they won't be satisfied with jobs or entitlements or any other blandishments politicians are willing to offer. Their motivations are ideological, and they'll be satisfied only with power, and then they'll demand more power. I cling to the hope that most Americans are still willing to fight, and if necessary, to die to preserve our freedoms.
And they're calling, the woke to be indoctrinating people. That we want you to be able to fight to your death against the wokeness here. But also the wokes are the ones who are being indoctrinated and radicalized.
Our rights, our customs, our history. That was the spirit of Flight 93.
All right, shut the
We
fuck
need to-
up. I want to see what they promote to kids. Let's have a look. PragerU for kids. Why are they teaching kids how to become a business? Like, what kind of fucking 10-year-old is starting his own business, right? A lot of this. All right, so see these like animated, like fucking what's it called, infographics type art, right? I think a lot of this it's sort of either generated via AI or like something because they've got the same sort of very basic sort of art style to them. I think they're either using like whatever templates the infographic show uses, which is obviously how they churn out content so quickly, or they're just using like really bad AI or something. Look at the quality. Look, this all looks the same thing. Yeah, none of this looks as interesting as the previous stuff. Right, cool. I'm done with PragerU.